All right. Welcome everybody to today's Kauaʻi Farm to School Programs and Resources webinar for the school year of 2024 to 2025. My name is Mandy. I am the Food Access Coordinator for Malama Kauaʻi. And we also have Stormy.
Aloha everyone, Stormy here, Food Access Alakai. Nice to meet you.
So first things first, who are we? We are Malama Kauaʻi. Malama Kauaʻi is a community-based 501c3 nonprofit that has focused on increasing local food production and access for a resilient Kauaʻi since 2006. Now, what that means is we assist farmers with support in grants, grant writing, education and assistance, as well as consumer market intel, like what folks want to eat, so what they should be planting. Other things such as farm to school programs like our Food Trees for Schools and our Kalo to Kula programs. We're most known for our emergency response feedings, which is the free and food distributions, gleaning and feeding, like during the pandemic and during the flood. And we also have our food hub, which we market and distribute local food through KauaiLocalFood.com to commercial and consumer markets. Why is this significant? The importance of food security on Kauai. As you can see, our results from our food insecurity survey we took in 2022, where 177 Kauai residents represented around 472 food insecure individuals, a mixture of both adults and keiki, through January 22nd to May 22nd. And of that, we collected the data where 58% of families missed meals at least monthly because there wasn't enough food. And 46% of those families were unable to provide healthy foods like fresh produce weekly. So overall, about 54% of those families experienced hunger pains at least monthly. And I know you as teachers, we've met with many teachers who have shared that the need is real and they see it, and your hearts are so big that you pay out of pocket to provide snacks or make meal activities for the children. And that is why we are here. We're here to feed kids and to also recognize the importance of growing our own food and supporting our community to connect with each other and the Aina, to support with funding and resources for growing food trees at schools and connecting keiki to Kalo. Now, some of our access work is listed here. We have been the leader of Kauaʻi School Garden Network since 2010. We have been the lead of Hawaii Farm to School Network since 2016. In 2022, we did the food insecurity survey, and we have done a Kauaʻi food access plan that outlines goals and steps to take towards those goals for a better food secure Kauaʻi by 2030. We also have a delivery service for local food using the federal programs of SNAP and the Bucks. And we facilitate keiki and kupuna emergency feeding programs, as well as coordinating keiki summer meal programs like Taukau for Keiki. So everything we do is to increase food production and support access. So how we move forward as an island is everything. Now, our community food project goals. is to strengthen local food production on school campuses and youth program sites with edible orchards and increased participation in summer meal programs like Kauaʻi for Keiki. We assist in, or we want to assist in Hawaii's statewide goal of planting 2,000 food trees on school campuses and youth program sites across the islands between 2023 and 2026. Currently, we're in the year 2 and have planted at least 47 trees on our island so far. Now, you've heard me mention Kauaʻi for Keiki a few times now. So if you're unfamiliar with the program, this is here to tell you all about it. This is our Kauaʻi for Keiki impact report from this past summer of 2024. And it's a 9-week summer meal box distribution program that feeds Kauai's most in need children while supporting our local food system. It helps to serve our keiki during the summer months when they are off of the free or reduced lunch program and facing food insecurity. Meal boxes are packed full with nutritious local food, produce, and products that follow the USDA nutrition guidelines. We intend to not only keep this program going, but to also increase the amount of boxes we supply each year. Now, this summer alone, we provided 4,500 meal boxes over the 9-week span, which came out to providing 63,000 meals with the help of 70 plus volunteers. That entailed helping or supporting 15 local producers, which meant 190,000 and some change in local food was purchased. One of the things that we're really proud of is the 4,500 pounds of poi that was shared to these families. Some of the favorite meal box items that were listed was our bananas, pineapple, veggies, poi, and bread. And as you can see, there's some other percentages there. We asked the participating families to fill out a survey and help us come up with these numbers so that we can show that it's not just about our food, but also about helping our community. And 97% of families saw improved mental health and lowered stress due to this program. 84% of families had an interest in buying local. 75% had improved food security. And 56% ate from scratch prepared meals more often. Now, the last two that have a little bit of lower numbers, the 43% and the 30%, is actually due to the fact that Kauaʻi for Keiki has been running for a few years, and a good portion of our families are actually repeating. So they continue to do this program every year. And so 43% prepared food together as an ohana more often, but some were already doing it from previous years when they first signed up. And 30% sat down as a family for meals together more. Now, in the summer, we do Kauaʻi for Keiki. Now, during the school year, how we want to feed our children is by plugging into this program more. This program is Food Trees for Schools, and one of the main resources that we offer you is the Kauaʻi School Garden Guide. It's a printed resource for groups and schools to use to help lead the way in establishing healthy, fruitful gardens and orchards within their school communities. It contains and covers resource lists, groups to connect with, tips to a successful garden, and keys to sustainability and longevity of your garden in the future. There is a tiny URL at the bottom. We can plug that into the chat for you. I know I'm talking a little faster than my own typing skills would be able to keep up with. So you can find it in the chat. Another thing that I want to touch upon is the mental health benefits of planting or of gardening, of getting your hands in the soil. Not only does the soil benefit you, but so does the sunlight. I don't know about everyone's else, but I love being in the sun. I don't often get to do it. And studies have shown sunlight lowers blood pressure and increases vitamin D. Putting your hands in the soil means being in contact with a specific soil bacteria that I am not going to attempt to pronounce. That particular bacteria triggers the release of serotonin in our brain. And serotonin is a happy chemical, a natural antidepressant that strengthens the immune system. The brain also releases dopamine when we harvest products from the garden. And the theory behind that is when we were all hunters and gatherers, that's where that dopamine rush comes from. And I agree. I find a certain kind of pleasure harvesting my chives and my rosemary from my garden. Now, one of your questions might be why food trees and not gardens? Well, we have actually in the past tried to do school gardens. And unfortunately, when one teacher that's in charge, or even maybe a couple teachers are in charge of doing the gardening, if those teachers move on to different positions or get too busy or forget to keep it going and perpetuating the importance of the school garden to everyone in the school, it gets left behind. And gardens need a lot of attention. There's weeds that pop up, pests, so on and so forth. Um, I myself, when I was going to school in elementary at Wilcox, I remember Mr. Yoshi, who wanted to teach everyone to do lettuce and how to do the lettuce in the wet little cups. And we would take home lettuce, and it was the greatest thing. And my little sister, we have a 10-year age gap. She had no idea who Mr. Yoshi was. This program did not exist. She was like, "What are you talking about?" So we want to avoid this by having trees which are minimal maintenance once they're established. This is not to say that you shouldn't get a group of friends together to plant your trees, because you should. Once before the trees are established, it is important to create your team, to create your support system, to make sure that the trees do thrive and get to the point where they create fruit. This goes over a portion of the Kauaʻi School Garden Guide, does talk more about this in depth. So I'm just repeating what's in there. But food trees, why? Other than it being minimal once it's established, it does improve human and soil health. It creates a foundation for future garden and crop integration, and it produces fruitful harvests for years to come. Not to mention, it provides food security for our community. What will the program look like? So we ask that you fill out an interest form for participating in the Fruit Trees for Schools program. This interest form will tell us important things like what kind of trees do you want to plant? How many trees do you want? Et cetera, et cetera. And all of this starts with an initial conversation, just talking story with us so that we can assess your needs and where you're at in planning or in your timeline that the School Garden Guide offers. You can find the tiny URL in the chat, or you can scan the QR code to access that interest form. I am the CFP coordinator that's available to help you with navigating the School Garden Guide, or, just overall support. You can call me, reach me anytime. And last but not least, I also want to be here to help you plant. It does take a lot of hands. It's very rewarding, but once it's done, it's done. So thank you guys for listening to me. Um, there's my contact information if you need anything else. Otherwise, I am passing the baton to Stormy.
Okay. Aloha, everyone. All right. So that's our community food projects, food trees for schools. Please reach out. We're really excited to really ramp this up and get more trees planted. I think the goal is 2,000 trees across the Pai'aina. So I think there's like 200 plus trees total planted out on a bunch of different campuses on all the islands so far. So we do have a ways to go, but it's definitely doable. It's not just for schools either. It's for youth program sites. So if you host children and students, and you have space to plant trees, and you're eligible for that program. And we're excited to hear from you. I'm going to talk about Kalo to Kula, which is our 2-year grant program. The project is really to help Kalo continue to reclaim its rightful place in our daily island food culture by developing an appreciation within our youth and ourselves and our ohana, our kaya ulu, our community. And we want to bring Kalo to the schools. And so we're attacking it in a few different ways, offering field trips to Kalo farms, also helping student-led projects happen with Kalo product samples available. We just finished the USDA compliant recipe guidebook, which is now available for free online. And then we also are hosting cafeteria staff and teacher training. So lots of ways for people to get involved. Do gotta shout out the USDA, County of Kauai, and Johnson Ohana Foundation for the funding that supports this project. So some highlights, the Kalo farms in our Kalo to Kula project. Your keiki can visit for a field trip. And this guide is super cool. So it's on our website, malamakauai.org. If you look up Kalo to Kula, there's a whole homepage where all our fun things where you can interact are available and linked for you. The field trip guide is there. We have 8 participating Kalo farms across the island that you can contact. There's info about each one of them, what makes them unique, what fun activities you could possibly do with your students, and even down to like the parking, the fees, all that good stuff. This guide also contains, a resource list of how you show up to a Kalo farm as a guest too. So good stuff. Check it out. We're offering grants to schools for this project. We have a total of about $10,000 in field trip grants so that the students can go visit that Kalo farm. This is specifically for this school year, so 2024 to 2025. There are some details we want to make sure you guys include in your field trip. There needs to be a hands-on activity for your students to do. A lot of our field trip site hosts already have activities in mind, and you can use funding to help make that activity boost it even more, or bring your own activity supplies to do on the farm. The maximum amount per application that we can grant is $1,250. Multiple applications per school are allowed, so more than one teacher from one school can apply for these grants. That's totally fine. We do ask that your grant request is appropriate to the size of the group that you're bringing. So if you're only bringing 5 kids, please don't ask for $1,000. We want to make sure that enough people get a chance to use the funding. But it's really cool because we actually have some applicants already, and like we have people like 50 to 60 kids are going. So I'm like, get ready. The funding can be used not only for the farm fee, right? So like $3 to $5 per student that goes directly to the farmer. But you can also use that funding to pay for the transportation to get you to and from your field trip, as well as, like I said, the activity costs that you want to do while you're on the farm. And then the last mandatory thing that we ask is that you complete a post-field trip survey. And that it's submitted to me within 14 days of you doing the field trip. And just to get myself and my coworker off of the computer, we'd love to join you for your field trip. Let us know when you're going, when it's scheduled, and that way we can join you and then actually help you administer that evaluation with your students and then take all that data home and analyze it. So we have the application here. I'm going to link it in the chat for you guys real fast. Please share this far and wide. It's not just for schools, but also for, again, youth programs, after school programs, spring break, fall break, winter break. Those are all applicable anywhere that hosts students. So definitely down to connect with even homeschool folks as well, and preschools too. And then let's see. This brings me to my second grant opportunity for you guys. We're calling it Kalo credit grants. This, we have a total of $12,000 in Kalo products for students to participate in a variety of Kalo sampling, cooking, and tasting activities. Again, within this school year 24 to 25. So when I say Kalo products, we have been purchasing raw kalo and luau or taro leaves from farmers here on Kauai. We've been bringing it into our food hub facility and then processing it minimally, steaming luau and then freezing it and packaging it. Or packaging and freezing it. We've also been making kalo pa'a, or what is also known as table taro. So it's cooked, clean, cut, and then packaged. So it's ready to go for recipes. We also have kalo fries available. We've dabbled in kalo flour, but we're probably not going to do that anymore. We also are sourcing kalo products from other kalo makers or kalo product makers on the island. So there's taro bread, there's taro buns and taro patties, and poi as well. So a lot of different products that you can apply for grant funding to purchase through our food hub. And we look at it as like more of a donation. For those that are tied up in bureaucracy with DOE, we know that, you know, sometimes accepting grant funds is a little tricky. But then you can bring it into the classroom and let your students lead how you're going to use it. There are some details here as well. Food is meant for free student consumption. That's the most important. We want to make sure that these items are not being resold, even if it's for a fundraiser or a ticket event that will benefit the students somehow. This food is specifically to feed our keiki, and so it should only be given freely, mostly to students. You can select the products you want to use. We have a product donation form on our website that you can look at and actually submit along with the grant application that you put in. But the activities created, we do want to see student engagement. Again, multiple applications per school is allowed. Grant requests should again be appropriate to the size of the student group that is participating. And lastly, we all want to know, like, from ourselves to our farmers to our funders, we do want to hear from the students how they felt about the products and whether they like it or not. We want to know. And that's really just so that we can get a temperature check on what needs to be improved. How should we kind of, you know, change things to make it so that keiki really have an i'ini or desire to eat kalo in all the different ways. Because kalo isn't just for coming from a Hawaiian culture, it's coming actually worldwide. There's a lot of different cuisines that feature taro. So I'm going to link the application here again in the chat. And again, please share far and wide. We have a lot of food in the freezer to share. So please, please apply. I do have some examples of some allowed projects for our Kalo credit products. So we look at them as ingredients that are ready for any kind of recipe. So for example, a cooking class in an after school program could use the ingredients to make their snack for the day. This is the picture there is Waimea High School culinary class making chicken laulau with fresh luau leaves. Um, there's also another fun project could be students using kalo pa'a to pound their own poi that they then eat. Teacher or a chef can prepare kalo dish and have a taste testing and maybe a little sampling activity with kids as long as they get their feedback. Um, you could even tie, what we would love to see is that you tie your field trip with your kalo credits and you maybe do a Kalo themed lunch to go along with your farm field trip. And you can eat it there, feed your farmer too. That way the kids don't have to worry about snacks. You guys can make poi parfaits together. So much fun. Or you can even do like poi smoothies that are used as an activity, like, measuring together, making food, and do it as a snack for your garden class and then plant some kalo, all kind of ways you can get creative. And we really encourage you to think outside of the box with it. These are just some examples. If you have any of your own ideas, please share so that we can share them as well. Um, there are some things that are not allowed, and these are just based on our past experience with farm to school programs. So we just wanted to point them out right at the beginning. Some things again that are not allowed. No selling of any food in any form. So again, no ticketed events, fundraisers, not even buying the food so that a third party can make something with it. It's connecting our keiki to kalo. So we want the kids to get hands-on with it. Food can be used in a culinary class, but those eating the end results need to be students, and it's not meant to feed teachers or parents or people outside of the student body. Um, and ingredients that are incorporated in school meals, but with no student participation and no feedback is also not allowed. We need to know if the kids like them or not. And we want them to enjoy it, right? We know they're hungry. Let's feed them. This leads me to the Kalo recipe guidebook that I referenced in the beginning. I have to update it because it's actually not 21 recipes, it's 19, but still a pretty good number. There are 19 recipes total for breakfast, lunch, and sides, all including kalo or luau or both. Um, these recipes are all compliant to the USDA nutrition requirements, which is really, really hefty. And so when you look at the recipe guidebook, please keep that in mind. We did a recipe contest across Hawaii last year. And then we also have recipes from other of my ohana and friends that we kind of took as is and then kind of tried to fit them into the USDA box while maintaining the integrity and delicious quality of each recipe as best as possible. And so it's a really robust book. I definitely encourage you to check it out. There's some Ono stuff like the Kalo cinnamon rolls. There's Kalo corn chowder on the left, top left. Top right are some homestead hash browns. Bottom right is beef luau. So these are the kinds of recipes that we're hoping to see, not only like our ohana cook at home, but also maybe one day on a school lunch plate or breakfast plate. They're all taste tested by our staff and my kid and some other kids. So both adults and students have tested all of these recipes. And not only do we use Kauaʻi source taro in the recipes, but also other fruits and vegetables and protein that are available locally here on the island. I guess I'll say you can find that book on malamakauai.org on the Kalo to Kula page. I don't know, Mandy, if you could bring that up and share that in the chat, that'd be cool too. And so that brings us to the last part of this project. This beautiful picture is of Kekoa in Anahola. They have a wonderful mala or dry land taro patch on the Mauka side of Anahola Homesteads area. They host a lot of youth and do class like that right there in the field. So super, super cool. This is where we held one of our two workshops for cafeteria and teacher staff. And this was just a way for, teachers and CAF staff to get hands-on with Kalo. It's free. One day, so full day, 9 to 3 p.m. We hosted 2 in September, and we're going to host another 2 in March. And so we encourage you to sign up. You can sign up now. The applications are open. So for the workshop, you get to meet some generational taro farmers that will share their mo'olelo or stories about growing kalo here on Kauaʻi. You also get to get hands-on at the site that we're going to be at. The farm sites right now are to be determined, but we hope to have some activities that you can get your hands in the dirt. Here in Anahola, we all weeded one full row of kalo that really needed it. And at the end, it was really good fun. I actually had to pull them all out of there because they didn't want to stop. It was great. So while we're at the workshop as well, we'll get to explore a bunch of curriculum that I put together from different resources across the Pai'aina, and also talk about these grant opportunities that I spoke about, the Kalo Farm Field Trip grant and the Kalo Credit Grant. Then we'll dive into the Kalo Recipe Guidebook with hands-on cooking. We do a couple different cooking demonstrations, and then of course tasting, because we want to eat all that good stuff. We'll also have a chef on site that will prepare a very Kalo full lunch for us. That was super delicious. I think last one we did the Kalo corn chowder, homestead hash browns, a really beautiful salad, auntie made kulolo. It was really ono. And then everybody is gonna go home with a big kit full of all the Kalo products that will be available through the Kalo Credit Grant. So again, the flour, the fries, the pa'a, the lu'o, the patties, the bread, the buns, all the things. That way you can take it home, test out the recipes, sample all the goodness. Definitely recommend you signing up for this workshop. One will be on the southwest side, and then one will be on the northeast side. 10 spots per training total. We really would love to see some cafeteria staff join us because they're the ones that we're hoping that will prepare these meals in the future. So we are offering $100 stipend to any cafeteria staff that attends the workshop. So if you know anybody who works in the cafeteria at a DOE or charter school, please encourage them to attend a workshop because it's good fun. And that's my info. 8280685 extension 11. You can also reach out to me via email, stormy@malamakauai.org. I'd love to wala'au with you about all the things that Kalo can do. And I'm gonna stop sharing. I know we just overloaded you with choke information. We have a great amount of time. So if any of you have any questions, please don't be shy. Please ask. Someone's probably thinking it. Or we're also going to be uploading this onto our YouTube channel. So any questions you might have will be helpful for those who are viewing it that couldn't be here today.
I have a question. So the Kalo and the fruit tree are two separate grants going on. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And with the food trees, we don't have a specific grant that will pay for the trees, but we do have other ways that we are brainstorming on how to actually procure trees for you guys.
Okay.
But we have all the resources to help you pick out the trees depending on the zone that you're in, and then plan out where you want to plant those trees once you get them, and then also how to create a team to keep them going, and then also how to keep them alive while they're getting established and then maintain them once they're big and beautiful. Yeah.
And that's in the guide, all of that, how to apply for the fruit trees.
Mandy.
Yes, the guidebook is quite beefy to say. It does cover a lot. You can feel free to call me if you have any questions after accessing it, or if you would like to hang out and I can come over and visit your school. We can talk about it. If you get a group of friends to help you, some maintenance staff, some groundskeepers, some other teachers, and we can all talk about it. We can talk about where we want to plant trees, what kind of trees, et cetera, et cetera. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else? Feel free to unmute now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll let you guys go. But yeah, we're gonna upload this to YouTube and then share the link as well. So if anybody wants more information, you're like, hey, I went to this really cool thing with all these opportunities, you can share the link with them as well. Thank you. Have a great day.